All right. Well, today's a very special day. First time for my channel, and meeting.
First time for me too.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. Meeting Michelle the other day at a place called Pallet Restaurant, who you saw
Yeah, they
it
do a.
highlighted on YouTube as well. Right?
Yes, I saw it on YouTube, and they do a wonderful bonnet, which is steak and egg, so delicious.
So basically, I was sitting on a table next to Michelle, and she was having the bonnet, and that's what I go for, the bonnet. And we just struck up a conversation, and now we're doing this, which is just amazing. So, Michelle, let's get into it.
Okay.
Where are you from originally?
So I'm from the United States, originally from Florida, South Florida, so between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. And we just had a lovely pho at a place down the road from the original coffee shop that we were going to meet at, but that was so busy. And this is a whole new, brand new area to me. Now, through our conversations, you said you've been here for 2 years already.
Yeah, 2 years and 4 months.
2 years and 4 months. And is this where you want to end up living forever, or how does it work? And tell me.
I really love it. I'm going to be here for another year and 3 months, and then I'm moving on to another country. But I really like Vietnam. I fell in love with it, so I'm really questioning my decision now. So, yeah.
Okay. So, you come from the States. What background do you have in the States? What were you doing there? Children, husband, family?
Sure. So I was an administrative assistant, and I also did recruiting, and I had worked for 30 years, and I just decided, it was time for a change and to travel. I had a friend who was an inspiration to me, and she had taught all over Asia, and I've always wanted to do it. Finally, the housing market changed a little bit. So in 2021, I sold, and I first went to Mexico because it was still the COVID restrictions going on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I did that for 6 months. Went back to South Florida because I had an opportunity to be in the north of Florida. Really enjoyed the Palm Beach Gardens area, and I came here ever since. And then I've kind of been in one location, rented in one location, and also I was explaining to James that my mother is Vietnamese, so I do get a longer visa. So every 6 months I have to leave the country. So that's one of the reasons why I chose Vietnam too, because for me the visa is easier than other countries.
And Michelle, you scooter around everywhere. Very
Yes.
brave. Because the roads here can be quite daunting.
Yes, yes.
With the hooting and the people going in and out in different directions and all sorts. And how have you found that? I mean,
I love scootering, and I would not take back my adventures on the scooter. It's one of the reasons, actually, why I'm here, and I love it. I love the freedom of taking the scooter and going up the mountains, visiting other towns.
yeah, you said you went to Hoi An yesterday?
Yeah, I drove all the way to Hoi An, 45 minutes, and enjoyed the beach. There's several cafes up there. One is called Sound of Silence. You have to go.
I've
It's
heard of
just
that.
so pretty.
Yes.
So pretty, so relaxing. They've got like a little garden. And then I went to another restaurant there called the Deck House. And and then afterwards I go see the sunset in the rice fields. And then I kind of drive back, right? Yeah, as it gets a little bit dark, and then I drive back.
So, being here for 2 years, can you remember what it was like when you first arrived? And I know you've said that you've come with your mom back to Vietnam a couple of times on holiday.
Yes,
But a
yes.
holiday is a whole different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a trip. It's 30 hours from the U.S. And I was doing the big move, so I had like 2 huge suitcases, a small carry-on, and then a backpack. And it was kind of scary. It was kind of scary, but exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I landed. I was exhausted. I did it differently than what I would suggest for people, which I rented out from in the United States I found the place,
Yes.
and then I told them, yeah, I want to do that. I didn't sign any papers or anything, and at that time there was a lot less people coming to
Yes. Yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't give any deposit, sign any papers, but when I landed, they understood I wanted to do a longer term lease. When I got in the place, I was like, wait, it does look exactly like the video you sent me. Said, but it's on the second floor, not the fifth floor. And they were like, oh, well, it's just a video to show you what it would be like. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
but I
come on.
do like the higher floor. Anyway, I stuck to the second floor and been there ever since. I know I got too lazy to change up the apartment, but I really like where I live. It's called the La Cap Hotel and Apartments, and there's a whole line of 2 bedrooms, and then there's 1 bedrooms and studios there, and it's got a great swimming pool,
Oh, wow.
pretty good staff. Owner's really nice, so
I think, if you can find a place where you are comfortable
yeah.
and you're happy with the rent and the location, there's no need to move, is there?
Yeah, but then I started accumulating things, which makes it harder to move. So I like my creature comforts.
Yeah.
I bought myself a dryer, a dehumidifier, a mattress topper. So part of me does want to be a tumbleweed and travel to the other countries. And then part of me is like, oh no, I get too comfortable. I got a water machine that filters all the
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
so I don't have to keep buying water every
And
couple of weeks.
I guess for somebody who's living long term in a country, that's exactly what you should be doing, because you want those creature comforts. And did you always come to Da Nang or Vietnam with the intention of staying for an extended period of time, or?
So I came here twice with my mom, and then we went on vacation, and I was in Da Nang one day. Then I was in Hoi An 2 days. I saw Vung Tau was there for a week in Vung Tau, which is
that?
near Ho Chi Minh, like a city that
Oh,
they
right, okay,
vacation for
okay.
the beach. And then I went to Phu Quoc, and then of course Ho Chi Minh. And I did the research and then committed to Da Nang for many reasons. I'm pretty much happy with the decision.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like this is a larger city, but yet it's not too busy to scoot around. Ho Chi Minh will be more difficult when you're scootering through a lot of traffic. It gets to be like a headache and not fun, and you got to be so careful. So here it's a mix, more relaxed for sure, especially on the beach side.
And as a lady in a city solo traveling, do you feel safe? Have you
It's
ever?
extremely safe, like
Yeah.
way more safe than in the U.S. There was a few incidences that I've heard of, or that a situation for myself, like there was a person following us on the scooter, and he wasn't mentally well,
Right.
and so we went into a hotel, and the lady shouted to the guy to leave. You hear of very small incidences. But I would say, even with that guy following on the scooter, I always felt safe. Like I was like, oh, this is annoying. Let me just,
Yeah.
deal with it.
I've been here now for, this is my 12th day, I think, and I absolutely have not felt any tension anywhere,
Yeah.
which is just fantastic. I mean,
They
excuse
say
the
to be
noise, people, but there's lots of
little
noise. There's somebody
sleeping.
sweeping now, but it's all good. That's what it's like. This place is a hustle and bustle. It's
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Sorry,
But
carry on.
I've never been taken in any way by shysters or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like people say to hold your phone and all that. And I keep a necklace for my phone to keep it around my neck. So if they were to try to take it from my hand. But in Da Nang, it's very safe. So I'm talking about the bigger cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. You
Yeah.
got to be a little bit careful. But
Yeah.
here, oh my God, like so safe. So safe.
I've felt that. Like I said, there just hasn't been any tension from locals, expats, holidaymakers. And yesterday I was on the beach. The sun was out, and it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the weather right now is really nice. So now is coming the good season, the high season here. So it's the temperatures are more mild, the sun is coming, less rain. So there's the wet season and the dry season.
Yeah.
And then in the dry season, it does get hot and humid in the summer. So it's like South Florida weather,
Right.
if you understand what the Miami weather is. And then there is monsoon season. It gets depressing in the rain.
Yeah, and we've just come out of that, right?
Yes, it could rain for weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was it this season? Because I arrived just sort of at the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Kind of. It was a bit gloomy for like the 6-7 days, and maybe a bit longer, 10 days. But I never saw too much rain. I
Yeah,
think.
so I suggest coming when he did in February,
Yeah.
because you come in November, December, and January, you will get a lot of rain. And because you're scootering, you can take the grab car, but then you're going from your grab car, getting wet, going to wherever you're going a little bit, and then it gets a little cold. So you can be wet and then be a little cold. So yeah.
So, Michelle, everybody wants to know what the cost of living is here in Vietnam or in Da Nang specifically. In my 10, 11 days, I've experienced really good food at really good prices. My hotel rooms, they very, very reasonably priced, in fact, cheap. As somebody who's been here long term, rented an apartment, done all that, have you got an idea of what your sort of budget would be for a month?
Sure. So my budget, I pay $550 for my apartment. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's got actually a tub and 3 balconies. It's very modern and clean, all furnished. So it was included. And like I say, it's like a service too. I get a weekly or bi-weekly cleaning. And it included the washing machine in the unit. So it's $14 million I pay, but you could pay more. So this is years ago, and then they've increased it every 6 months, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would like to get a year lease, but he only permitted a 6-month lease. But I still consider it really cheap as compared to the
for a 2-bedroom with all those
Yeah.
additions. Yeah.
Because some people can pay that price for a 1-bedroom,
Right.
if they don't do the longer term lease.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
But you can also get it for a lot cheaper, like 8 to 10 million for small studios, small hotel rooms.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will come with the little kitchenette too, a little refrigerator.
Yes.
And then there's washing facilities, or when you do get your wash, you can just bring them to the little shop or downstairs to your reception desk, and it's very cheap, like X amount per pound. So you're talking about $1 or $2
Couple of
to
dollars.
get your laundry done. And as far as food, I try to stick to a $10 a day budget.
Okay.
And so I do like some cheaper Vietnamese meal, like we had today, pho, and it's
Yes.
only going to be $2. And then maybe I'll do a Western meal later, and that'll be like $7.
Yes.
And so I try, and then I do like a little bit of oatmeal at home or something like that. If I wanted the third meal in there, or some
Yeah.
fruit and things like that. So I try to stick to a $10 a day budget for myself. And
So-
then the scooter's only $4 a week in gas,
Oh,
not
my word.
even. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Transportation would be depending on if you're renting a scooter or if you're doing Grab, so how many times you're kind of going
Yeah.
out. Each time you do a Grab, if you ride on a scooter, it's only $1, $2 to go, like
Pretty much anywhere.
a lot of places. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only $4 to go to the airport, for instance. So that would be my budget. Would be okay. So electric is expensive.
Oh, is
so
it?
in the summer it runs I don't know, like it's like 3,800 a kilowatt hour. It turns out for me about in the cold season it's $60, and then the the heat, the summer, it comes to like 120.
Okay.
So I run that one AC a lot, and I run my air conditioners, and like in the winter I'll run my dehumidifier because it gets very moist here.
Yes.
So, and there's a lot of problem with dampness and sometimes mold in the winter. So I bought it used off of Facebook Marketplace, my dehumidifier. So it's possible to get a cheaper one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much all the expenses: food, your accommodation, electricity, your
Yeah.
bike.
Appliances are cheaper here too, because that
Right.
does matter if you're going to be here long term.
Yes.
So, because I know other countries, like in the Middle East, certain countries are very expensive. For
Right.
instance, for yeah. So I bought my dryer for less than 300. Bought another TV for less than 300, and I bought the water machine for 300.
Okay.
So yeah.
So on a monthly basis, it sounds, if I'm my math sucks, but
Yeah, I know.
it's all right.
I actually didn't do my monthly.
So
But
I would say it's
less than $1,000.
Less than $1,000.
Yeah, trying to stick to 1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I've heard. Obviously, I've done a lot of research on YouTube, and I know you're a big YouTube watcher as well, and you learn so much from it. But everyone seems to say, $1,000 is about the right sort of money to spend. And what about going out and alcohol, that sort of thing? Is it something that
Yeah, that is outside the budget.
Okay.
But yes, there's great places here. There's speakeasy bars, good bars.
Yeah.
So what will I spend if I go out for a drink? Depending on the bar. But even a good cocktail's only depending like $7, $8. For a beer, it's $1 to $2.
Yeah.
So if I want to go cheap, I'll just get a beer. If I want to have a fun night, so I think compared to the U.S., I just drink a little less, which is healthier for me anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and sometimes like I'll buy there's some liquor stores, so I'll buy like a nice bottle of wine or some whiskey, and I'll drink it at home with friends.
Yeah.
But another thing is you have to put in the travel cost, because if you're going to do a visa run,
Yes.
okay, so you have to include that as well. You can't just say it's 1,000. No, because you do the travel cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do a visa run every 6 months because you've got Vietnamese ancestry.
Right.
Most people have to do it every 3 months.
3
Is
months.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you would do a border run, and you would go to Laos from Da Nang, and it's done in a day. So you leave in the morning, come back at night. It's 135 around, or maybe 125, and then you're done in a day.
Yes.
So
and everything's
it's-
taken care of, right?
Yeah.
You literally get on a bus. There's a couple of stops. You have a cup of coffee when you get there, and then they take your passport, do everything for you. That's what I understand.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
And it's convenient, and but some people, they don't like that. They rather live in a country they can have a 6-month visa or a 1-year visa
Yeah.
or a 2-year visa. So it's a little bit inconvenience, but I kind of use it as an opportunity to travel and see Southeast Asia. And that only costs, it depends on the price of the ticket. So the ticket is fairly cheap. Like Hong Kong and back is $200.
Right.
Right? You could go to South Korea and back for $250.
Yeah.
You could go to Thailand and back for $250. You could go to Kuala Lumpur for $250, $300.
Yeah, I was
You
looking at
can-
flights yesterday, and it's about between that and $350, depending on what
Yeah.
airline
You
you
can
take.
go
Yeah.
to Perth for $400. You can go to Japan for $400. What are the other countries?
Well-
Cambodia for $400 around
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a really nice one.
And you've done a lot of these, right?
Yes. I've been here 2 years, so I had to do, right?
What's
2 a year.
if you could give any advice to any travelers, but especially ladies traveling or thinking of traveling to a place like Vietnam or Southeast Asia, what advice would you give them?
My advice is to come try. It's so safe for women. As a woman, I would definitely travel to Southeast Asia as opposed to even other countries. I mean, it's just very, very safe, and it's easy. I find other countries to be more expensive and a little more difficult. So if you're like a beginner traveler, I think it's a perfect place to start.
Yeah, I agree. It's just kitted out. There are so many expats around, but I find it it's not like you're overcrowded with expats. You can go to different places where, you might find one or two let's call us Westerners, walking around, but then you can just be with many locals, and I like that. And then
Yeah.
if you want to dip into the bar scene and go and watch live music like I did last night, it was brilliant. Really cool band as well. And I haven't found it difficult meeting and talking with people, and I know that some people just have that ability to just talk. No, you obviously do. I mean, we just said hello to one another and commented on the food. Next thing we're sitting here and
We're buddies already.
yeah, exactly.
Buddies in a day.
No, I mean, but how have you found it? Have you found it similarly? Being here for 2 years, you must have some really good friends and
Yeah, well, you meet people and they come and go. So as a solo female traveler, it's disheartening too. You meet someone and you have so much fun hanging around, and then they leave.
Yeah.
So you'll experience that as well. But I have some neighbors that are here long term, and they're native English speakers, are from Australia and different places. And it's kind of nice having little friend groups. I have like a VitQ friend group that we're half Vietnamese and half from somewhere else, either Germany, America, UK, but then we speak English to each other and then understand some Vietnamese culture and things that we went through with our family. So yeah, there's actually a VitQ group. We've been doing some badminton, some of the girls, so they branch off into things they like some girls like the nightclub stuff, some girls like some of the sports stuff, some girls just want to get together to go to a resort. So there's even a bowling group on Thursday.
Oh wow! How cool is that?
Yeah.
So you've got more than enough to keep you busy.
Yeah, for sure.
And
and even in the building that you live in, you start meeting friends that are neighbors that live in the building, and that's a beautiful little community. I have friends from all over, and they're staying at the Moon apartment. And they got a little group going there, and
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really warm to have other English speakers.
What I found, I lived in Dubai for 15 years, so the expat life really became something that I really enjoyed. And our neighbours were American. When we went to America, we stayed at their house. People become like family.
Yes.
When you're in an expat community, and I absolutely loved it. I have so many good friends, from Dubai, friends of ours. We went with them to Zimbabwe. They're Zimbabwean and South African. Stayed with them in Zimbabwe, went on a houseboat, and then they've moved to Bali. We've been up to Christmas and spent Christmas with them in Bali. These are people that we've known for like 10, 15 years, which is just amazing, and I don't think you'd get that if you're living in your own country. You'll have your family around you, you'll have your friends that you make, but when you're an expat, I think you got that community feel, and I can feel that straight from you. There's just that warmth, there's that kindness, there's that willingness to help. Whereas I don't think you always get that when you're living in a country. You don't get that willingness to help like expats do.
Right.
What do you think? I mean, is that just me, or do you think the same?
No, it definitely. Like my neighbor helped me, and he's married to a local. They've just been lovely, and I can definitely feel like we'll be friends for a long time. I met 2 other girls I used to go for walks with, and I just feel like they'll be lifelong friends. So for sure, it's like a community for the expats, and when people come, I do try to share with them the knowledge that I've learned for 2 years, because I know it's just so much easier. I mean, when I first came, I was trying to find out about popcorn, like I really so I'm like, are there corn kernels? And people are like, of course there's corn kernels, but it took me a while to find them. But it's at Moon Milk, for instance. So just little pieces of information. It's just easier if somebody tells you.
And so you got your social life. What keeps you busy?
Well, I do a little bit of private tutoring on the weekends, and I'm actually really close with some of the students, and I just think they're so lovely. And
you're teaching them English?
Teaching English as a foreign language, so it just keeps me a little bit busy doing the lesson plan and doing the lesson, and sometimes we go out socially, which is a lot of fun as well. You get to know the local people that way.
And what age are
different
they?
Ages.
Oh, really?
So there's been like some small classrooms, and then there's private students, 9, 10 years old, and then adults. So.
Oh wow, even adults.
Yeah, it keeps me busy, definitely. It's just something fun to do.
Oh, brilliant. That's amazing. So what's the next big plan on the horizon?
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully my daughter's going to come visit in July.
Cool.
I really
cool.
hope. So we're going to do 2 weeks in Thailand, and then traveling around Vietnam a little bit, probably Hanoi, Ha Long Bay,
Oh wow.
Ninh Binh.
Okay.
Yeah, I want her to see all those places.
And
Then,
is,
of course,
is she in the States?
she's in the States. She's in Florida,
Okay.
and it'll be end of June, beginning of July. So it's going to be hot, but I plan to take her to Hue and Hoi An, and then around Da Nang. So the 4 weeks will go by pretty quickly, pretty quick, yeah.
Wow, that'll be. And when was the last time you saw her?
December, thank God. I just went
Oh.
back to the U.S.
Okay.
and it was so expensive. So yeah, the flight to the U.S. is about $1,500.
Yeah.
And then once you get there, everything is like spending. Miami's a very expensive city.
Yeah.
But I love seeing my family. I love Sunny Isles where I used to live. I love all the views there. And
Yeah.
it's a beach town. It's beautiful. And I came back to Da Nang, and I'm like, thank God I have someplace else that I would like to live that's a little cheaper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
I'm grateful. Yeah.
And I think just meeting you and just not that we know each other, but just getting to know you. It's the happiness on your face when you talk about Da Nang just comes across.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is such a nice thing to see. And I think the little time that I've spent here, I can see why there's so many expats that want to live here long term. It's very convenient there. The coffee culture is amazing.
Really nice coffee
Oh, my
culture.
word, yeah. I
And
had a
international.
I had a salted coffee for the first time yesterday, and I thought,
Ooh, the
lovely.
egg coffee. Have you tried
I
the
haven't
egg
tried
coffee?
that yet, but I want to. Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to.
Yeah, it's good.
And-
It's more like a dessert, so
Right,
save
okay.
it for your dessert.
Yeah. And then obviously you've got the banh mi, and the bread is so nice here, and I'm trying to stay off bread, but oh my word. Anyway, there we go.
It's not easy
gotta keep
with the good
walking.
banh mi sandwich.
Yeah. No, absolutely true.
So there's international cuisine as well. I just went to a Romanian restaurant and had polenta, believe it or
you
not.
serious?
Yeah, polenta here.
No
and then
way.
there's like great Indian restaurants.
Yes.
There's a Russian restaurant
Yeah.
from Spain where you can get what's that dish that is in a big round
Paella.
paella? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't say that right. And then so many different international restaurants as well.
Yeah,
So-
you were right when you said it's a large city, but it doesn't feel large.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It really doesn't. You could walk to the Dragon Bridge from the beach.
Yeah.
It's a longish walk, but it's like what 25 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah,
walk.
I didn't have a scooter for the 6 months, the first 6 months, and I walked everywhere. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can get around pretty easy.
Yeah, no, it really is. Michelle, we need to do this again sometime. I think next time, if it's okay with you, I'd love to interview you again and maybe have some specific, things that the viewers might want to hear about.
Sure.
From your experience. I'll ask them to add some comments and ask questions, and then maybe I can get like 5 or 6 questions that they have, and put that to you, and you can maybe answer the questions. All I'm here. I'm just a vehicle. This lady knows. She's been here. She's been here and done it. Thank you so much for your time. It's
Thank
been
you.
amazing, and thank you for introducing me to the pho again. I've only had it once, but this was really delicious, and
Thank you.
no, I really, really appreciate it.
And my advice to you, if you're thinking of coming to Da Nang, just do it.
There we go.
Do it.